Nobody has worked with CRM. We will not be able to cover everything right now, but I will try to give you an overview what this document contains, and we will try to give you the meat of what the Salesforce is. So there are like 10 parts. In the first part, I argue why should somebody use CRM? Why should a company use CRM? Second part gives overview of why, in general, companies use charts. This research has been done by Capterra.com, and the charts that you see, I have picked them up from this page. After the second part, the third part deals with the bird view of the CMS, what the CMS actually does, and why. What are the main concepts in CRM? The fourth part gives an overview of Salesforce CRM, amongst many other CRMs. It being it taking the largest share of CRM market. These concepts are concepts given by Salesforce as how they view the main topics in CRM. This represents the main workflow of how CRM works within Salesforce. This gives you the pricing of CRM. The Salesforce is expensive, but the return on investment is really huge for those companies who have a lot of money. The reason why you do not see it among our country or countries that are poor is because it's very costly, and only the countries which have a large amount of money or whose GDP is very huge, their companies implement Salesforce. Primarily United States of America, because the Salesforce is developed within over there. Now in the demo part, I show you how to register developer organization. Salesforce is specific in the sense that it is completely in the cloud, and because it is in the cloud, you do not download anything. There's no setup locally, and if you choose to, all of your work, including the development, can be done within Chrome. So the only development environment that you need is Chrome browser. And that is like why it's very popular. There's no upgrades. You do not do local upgrades. The upgrades are seamless, and the whole platform for everyone is upgraded at once. So all companies in the world, once the upgrade happens across all companies. This does cause problems to some companies, and they are able to revert back to a version of the platform that is best suitable for them, that does not create problems for them. In the sixth part, I give the overview of main concepts in the Salesforce. And also I give you the notable other platforms that were built on top of Force.com platform. There's difference between Salesforce and Force.com platform in the sense that the Salesforce is a CRM which started only as a CRM, but over the years it evolved into a full-scale platform on top of which you could build other applications which are not CRM, or you could build other applications which could be integrated with CRM. So many companies have developed completely different platforms or applications, systems, ERP systems, marketing systems, which use the power of Salesforce, but are not dependent on it completely. Other than that, there are many resources on how to develop third-party apps or how to integrate Salesforce into other apps. And I give overview of main integrated development environments. So there is a plugin for Eclipse, which gives you an environment to code, and this coding does not mean that there is a Java virtual machine. There's no Java virtual machine. There's just Eclipse as a handling platform, which allows there is a remote connection, and you connect to your organization, and everything that happens through internet. You do not compile on your computer. There's nothing happening on your computer. You just get the code completion. You just get all the benefits of new project creation, etc. You speed up your development process, but the compilation does not happen inside of your environment. Everything happens over there, and then if your compilation fails, the return message is returned from the cloud. It's not happening on your machine, so it's not heavy for your machine. It does not take up resources of your machine. Besides that, there's a plugin Mavens made for Sublime. It is not developed anymore. The last time I worked intensively with Salesforce was in December 2015, January 2016, and since then, when I was making this, when Kitchen told me to start to choose a subject, I chose this subject, and then when I started to investigate, I saw that there have been a lot of changes, which shows that the platform is ever evolving, and whoever chooses to go in this direction has to commit himself to it. And if you get really good, it can pay you really well. But if you just do it as a side project or something that you return to from time to time, you are never able to excel, and the platform really quickly changes. The upgrades happen every 6 months. There's summer upgrade and winter upgrade, and in each of these upgrades, it's not necessarily that there will be changes, but oftentimes there are changes as other technologies progress. Salesforce is trying to cover all these other technologies, and it's constantly evolving. So whoever chooses a career has to completely, I mean, if you're going to make money off of it, you have to just completely give your time to it. Besides that, I've seen that I didn't work with this, but I've seen that Visual Studio Code has developed a plugin for itself. The Salesforce gives you API so that if you, for example, if you have Amex, if you work with Amex, or if you work with other development environments, and you know how to create plugins for them, you can basically create a plugin for your environment. For example, this plugin, Vim Solanopsis, the guy from Red Hat who happens to work on Salesforce inside of Red Hat, he developed his own plugin, and I will talk about him more later. In the seventh part, I give you the main places where you get training. I mean, these links are everything that you need to get inside of this platform, and even to gain certification, and even to gain enough knowledge to start looking for work online. I mean, these 7 links give you everything you need. There are multiple other links, but these are the top links for learning, and everything above this, you will just be overwhelmed. Salesforce is known for having a really good success community. The success community, the success means that's the name that they gave themselves. So you can see this pattern. They constantly choose these fancy words: force, success, dream force. And throughout the whole platform, you gain a feeling of freshness, intensity, progress, happiness. When you work with the platform, you do not feel like down. There's constantly like upbeat environment from people and from the community, and it's enjoyable to work with it. If you choose to work with it, it's really enjoyable to work. Ninth part talks about job market. I give 2 job boards which are most popular in America. So if you are looking, there's a lot of jobs for Salesforce in the United States. So if somebody wants to go to United States, there are various companies looking for. There are in Europe, there are companies in Scandinavia and UK, but I haven't. For example, Germans completely focus on SAP. Their equivalent is SAP, and they do not want to. You will rarely see Salesforce in Germany. If you try to search for jobs, Salesforce jobs in Germany, there are, but this is an American product, and it's mainly used by American companies, and it is used by major companies which I will list. In conclusion, these are my conclusions from working with this platform. I speak from the point of developer. Did I make money from it? Yes, I made money in the sense that I created a plugins which connected the Google Sheets with the platform, so that I can pull data from the platform. This involved JavaScript, Google Apps JavaScript library, which then you create like a OAuth access key to your organizations. You give and using that you can access all of your data that is stored inside of your organization. The last part is glossary. This is like all the terms used inside of Salesforce are covered here. If you open this link, any single term that you hear, you can find the definition what that term is here, and the list is huge, and it covers everything. And by the way, I have worked with documentation of all sorts of programming languages, Android documentation, all sorts of Java documentation, all sorts of PHP, Python documentations, and they have by far the best documentation that I've seen anyone. If somebody should look how to design their documentation, they should look to Salesforce. I even think that they employed like psychologists to design their documentation. They put a lot of accent on how to format their paragraph, how to properly give you information so that you do not feel overwhelmed, and every information that you receive is actionable. You immediately know how to implement it. I mean, you do not feel that you get lost at some point. And the bookmarks are bookmarks which I bookmarked since 2013. The last time I've updated these bookmarks was in January 2016, and they are dead. I tried clicking on all of them, and there are dead ones. So if somebody feels that I should correct it, I gave an email. I give you my email. Is there something at the end? No, nothing at the end. So, in regards to CRM, CRM says in 2017 it's 36 billion market. Salesforce holds about one third of this market. Oracle has their own CRM. Microsoft has their Dynamics CRM, and these other big firms, they together with Salesforce, they hold together about 75%, and the rest are small scale, such as Sugar CRM and others. So gaining just 1% of this market will give you really good returns. Key takeaways. These takeaways are based on these graphs. So what does it say? It says who decided to use, which company decided to use, and when did you decide to use CRM? It says more than half of users adopted CRM within their company's first 5 years in business. and 2 out of 3 of companies had at least 100 customers when they first purchased CRM. So what happens is that you are a company and you have clients. Who is a client? Client is somebody who can be a single person or can be other business. So CRM is usually used to handle business to in most cases it's used to handle business to business communication. What does that mean? It means that I have a company and I need services from other companies, or I need to sell my services to other companies. So I come to a meeting like this and I ask, where do you work? What do you do? Can I offer you some of our services? I pick up contacts from you and I create an account for your company. So concept of account in CRM means that I have created a company. For example, I am BH Telecom. I have my organization, and you as another company, for example, Zira, you are Zira. You are, and I create account for Zira. So within my system, I have a concept of account, and all the companies that I work with, I create accounts for them. To these accounts, I connect contacts. Who are contacts? Contacts are people who can make decisions, who are decision makers within these firms. I'm looking for somebody here who, if I offer you something, you are able either to decide that you will buy it, or you are able to influence somebody within your company to buy it. Who are leads? Leads are people who are potential, who I have talked to. I'm not really sure if they are willing to buy it, but I still take their contacts, I insert them into the system, and I'm looking forward to convert them to contacts. And the contacts are people who are very likely to buy my services or my product. These charts, let's just see top industries that use CRM. Retail, business services, technology, banking, insurance, finance, manufacturing. What else it says? Business to business versus business to customer. So most business to consumer, business to business, business to government. A government is also an account. For example, you have a government and or you have sectors of government. So if inside of the government you have different organizations, these organizations will have their own accounts within our system. How long after being founded did your company first start using CRM? You can look it up. How many employees did you have when you first adopted CRM? So 10 to 49, 50 to 90. So this part is usually when companies start deciding that they should implement CRM within their company. Why is this? Because what happens is that as you grow and as your contacts grow, it becomes hard. Who should call who should contact these businesses? Who should? So what you do, you create teams of people who do marketing, people who do sales, people who do tasks, who implement stuff, and you assign them tasks. And there are people whose only job is to create campaigns towards companies, to contact these people, to call them, to like do some sort of social engineering. So there's a lot of psychology involved in the sense that you should follow the recent trends in persuasion. You should follow how to work with people, how to work with the minds of people. So what happens? You have marketing department within CRM, your marketing team. They run campaigns, they generate leads and form a database. Leads, as I said, are people who are potential customers. And how they form leads, they search the Facebook, they search LinkedIn, they go to conferences like this, they meet people, they they expose themselves and expect somebody to contact them through internet. Sales guys or sales team, they assign leads, qualify leads, convert leads, and check opportunities. Orders, deliver products, produce invoices. These guys, so once you sell the stuff, then there's a team who handles the sales part of it. And the support, so the company usually has some problems, doesn't know how to use the software, wants some additional things. The job of support is to handle these cases. So you have different, so these processes are happening throughout your CRM. And when person is hired and he should work with CRM, he is usually put in one of these teams. And when he logs in with his account, he will see only what is relevant to him. So I do not bog him down with all of this. I specifically designed, the system is specifically designed that when I create a hierarchy of who is who are the managers, who are the lower managers, who are finally the guys who will send emails, call people, you create some sort of a hierarchy, and all of these people have their logins, and when they log in, they only see what is relevant to them. And you do not bog down the top managers with the reports of the lower managers, nor do you give access to lower managers' reports that you send to the higher managers. These leads, accounts, contacts, opportunities, you can read more specifically what they are. Lead is generally potential customer. Account are other companies that you fill out information about them. For example, you fill out who is who in Zira, who are the lower managers, where did I meet them, what did they tell me. I try to record everything, all of my contacts with that company. I log it so that when you decide to act towards this company, whoever is assigned to this task has complete overview of everything you found. You basically form a knowledge base about this company. And contacts are like parts of account. So when you create a contact, you link it to account. Account is a physical person that you finally make contact to, either a CEO, either your normal employer, etc. Salesforce CRM. So their location is San Francisco. Total number of employees 22,000. Job openings as of February 2017. So there are working in Salesforce, for Salesforce, there are like 1,292 open positions. Revenue is not disclosed. Founded in 1999. Type of organization public. Number of work sites 59 in the world. The guy who started the company and who owns at this point 5% is Mark Benioff. So let me just. Okay, let's finally move to an organization. When you want to create an account to work with, to start learning about Salesforce CRM, you can have unlimited amount of developer accounts. The login looks like, the registration looks like this. You fill out your first name, last name, your email address. You define what's your role, company, the country, postal code, and the username. The username is not the same as email address. Username, you can have multiple organizations or multiple instances of the system. Different usernames, same email address. You can create 10 organizations and play around. For example, you can play around with one company, play around with another company, etc. Once you sign up, And once you log in, this is the first screen that you see. The screen is composed of this menu bar, and important parts are this menu bar, these controls over here, and the central part. When you log in as I'm now logged in as super administrator, the person who has complete control. Usually the person who logs in will not see everything that you see right now, but you as a developer or as a super administrator, you see everything and you have complete control of all the aspects of organization. Over here you see recent items that you work with. Over here you see quick links for the most tasks that are done most often. And there are other irrelevant links. And this bar, the links in the left side menu, give you complete control of your organization. As well as so there are 3 sectors: administer, build, deploy, and monitor. Actually four, and there are new ones: jobs, logs. The setup part. If you click the setup, this is the page of the setup. If you click on this app launcher, what this shows you, different apps that your CRM has. So salespeople will see sales app. If you click on sales, a different set of tabs fills at the top. An app is just a combination of different tabs which you assemble for salespeople. So you assemble for them whatever is necessary for them to work, and whatever is necessary for them to work shows up in their menu. I do not bog them down with apps that are irrelevant to them. There's marketing. If you click on marketing app, they get a different kind of menu. The first thing that they see is like a chatter. A chatter is basically copy paste of Facebook, but where they see all the relevant tasks that have been happening. So if their team members have done something, have created new leads, have created new contacts, all of that happens here. They can attach files, attach CVs, attach relevant documents, assign tasks. For example, if there's a manager manages 5 employees, it's like a group on Facebook. They all share same like a storyline, and all the events that are relevant to them are being listed there. The chatter itself, if you start loading it, it's very, very similar to how Facebook operates groups. Marketing, for example, does campaigns. If you click on campaigns, you can create new campaigns. By clicking new campaign, you give your campaign a name, fill out the form, and then proceed with the following task. With more steps to finish your campaign. Leads, this is the place where you see all your leads. You can create reports about leads, and there are different tools to import leads. What does it mean to import leads? If you have leads in Excel, if you have leads in some location, some TXT file, there are tools to mass upload these contacts into your system, to populate your system. Contacts, as I told you, for example, Vishka's M. Account name, this means the company that he works for. And for example, this phone number is a phone number of the contact. So if you click on the guy, you can see detailed information about his fax, contact owner, name, account name, title, department, birth, who he reports to. So you keep track of everything that is relevant to this person. You get a complete picture of this person because all of this information you can use then to persuade him, to talk to him, to have all relevant information about the person. And all of this with only one aim, to sell things, to sell your stuff. There are more concepts such as opportunities, reports, dashboards. I will not deal with opportunities, but reports. What are reports? You have for example, you are a sales guy, you are a marketing guy. You finished a campaign and you created 10 new contacts. And I say this person has succeeded in creating contacts. So I sent to a manager a report, or I created a monthly report. How many contacts have each of my guys made? So if you are really skilled, you get promotion. You will be promoted because you succeeded in creating new contacts. You are a likable person. You are communicative. You are. So the reason why you need people who love people and who are ready to work with people in this business is because they are very likely to attract people, to create new opportunities, and to sell stuff in the end. Besides these applications here, you can create your own applications. Applications do not have can rely on information that is created within your organization about accounts, about contacts, but it can be completely something else. You can create a game. You can create a dashboard where you do not see any of this. You do not see menus. You do not see left menu, right side menu. You do not see anything. You just see like an HTML page. An app can be a website. A website, in terms of CRM, is an app, and you can link your domain name to this app, and so whoever approaches, he will think that he reached a website, but in essence, he has opened CRM. He has opened parts of CRM without him realizing that this is CRM. If you go again to setup, this menu here gives you complete power. So this part manage users. Who are users? Users are your people within your company. So you basically enter all the users from your company inside. You assign them to teams. You assign them tasks, or you assign them managers, and you basically you create a hierarchy of your users. Manage apps. There are what else is an app? There are internal apps and there are external apps. External apps is an app that only uses a REST interface towards the organization, and which basically, for example, you have created an app in Node.js or PHP or some other language, and you need to show to whoever data from your organization. Salesforce gives you access through REST API to take up all of your data to the front. So you are able to basically consume your data from your organization in external applications, in your phone, in your custom websites, custom apps, etc., or custom internal applications. Company profile. This is a profile of your company. That's not the company, the other companies. So these menus here basically deal with the customization of your organization. Organization is this. So org, short org, is what you see here. All of this is an organization, and you as these menus. Users, apps, territories, profile, security controls, domain management. All of these basically are used to handle things that are relevant for your people and your organization, while this part basically deals with things that have to do with other companies, other contacts, other leads, etc. So you can see there's activities, there's campaigns, there's leads, there's accounts, there's contacts, there's notes, there's opportunities. All of these concepts, do not let them scare you, because out of all of these, you will never work with all of them at the same time. Plus, you as a standard user will not see almost none of this. You will see only the thing that you are trained for. So when a company takes you in, you are basically first trained what your job is. This usually means that you will go to some training camp, and they will completely explain the process. And most of the things you will not see. This is specifically for the administrators or super administrators to set up the organizations, to control the organizations. For example, accounts. When you click on accounts, you can see there are links on add a custom field to account. So what is account? All of these concepts, account, contact, lead, opportunity, are objects inside of the organization. Object equals table, or table equals object. So the closest to what the contact is a POJO object, is a POJO Java object, plain old Java object, which has Hibernate annotations. In sense, it behaves as an object, and at the same time it is a table. What that means is that you can add, there are predefined fields which you cannot erase, which are integral part of a CRM. But then you can add your additional fields. If there are things that you need to keep track of, you will basically add these additional fields, or you can create completely new objects. For example, you can create an object for charity campaign. Object is called charity. So charity, and then you can link it with one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many relationships to other objects. You basically link your app or your objects or your idea, how you think, what you need, to whatever is it that you need from these other objects, tables. So you're basically and the creation of these tables is very simple in the sense that everything is done in the browser, and the process is very automated. You do not use any applications or command line to instantiate your database, to assign charge, etc. But all of this is done through the browser. 640. Okay, so I don't know if you got the concept itself. Now, what's the magical part? The magical part is that a lot of things you can do click-based. So workflows, assigning tasks, creating new accounts, all of this can be set up in a way that you do not touch the code. You simply there are even apps inside of Salesforce that allow you to drag and drop and code with drag and drop. So you think of a process that you need to happen inside the organization, and you basically just drop objects, make links between them, and the classes magically appear, and your process works. Your process is completed. But if this is not enough for you and you need to work directly with code, you have your name here, and when you click on your name, there's a concept called Developer Console. If you click on the Developer Console, the console opens inside of your browser. So the Developer Console consists of this upper menu, just like in standard development environment, the classes open up in tabs, and your logs, tests, running of tests, running of queries, problems that you create are all shown below. This is basically mirrored in Eclipse, is mirrored in Sublime, is mirrored in anything that any environment that you choose. But if you do not want to use any local environment because you are not comfortable working with it, Salesforce has created everything that you need to work inside of the browser, and it's not clunky. It's not like that. It's not enjoyable to work with it because they have really worked on getting it to a point where you don't. It seems that as if you're coding on a real environment. When you create a new Apex class or open an existing Apex class, Apex. What's Apex? Apex is like Java. Apex is an equivalent combination of best concepts from Java and best concepts from C#. They have combined them together. But what they did, they created barriers. So they forced you to code well. How? For example, you cannot have more than one nesting of classes. In Java, you can nest endlessly class within class within class within class. And you can have a class which has 5,000 lines of codes. But the Salesforce tells you there's no more than 1,000 lines of code per one file. There's no more than one nesting inside. And for example, when you execute Apex, it's like a merger between coding and SQL, because you can intermix SQL within the code. Plus, the code itself is not key sensitive. So you basically and as soon as you make a mistake, for example, you make a mistake. Let's see. Let me see if I have opened house controller. If I make a mistake, for example, I try to save. See if the saving will work. It says I'm saving. Probably because I have opened it and see, it did not save it yet. Maybe because my browser kept it too long opened. It will not allow you to save it at all. Another rule is that you have to create tests. So every class that you create, you need to have a test, and the coverage for it to go to production is 75%. You cannot. It immediately runs. How many? You cannot create dummy tests. You can create, but it will heavily investigate the code to check, really check if you tested the code. If you didn't test the code, it will not. You can continue working in development environment, but if you try to deploy your app to a production server, to production organization, it will block you. So developer organization, or the one that you get when you register a developer account, has certain you can do things inside of there, but then there are sandbox. There are different types of these accounts that you can create, and if you do not follow good coding standards, you end up you will not be able to deploy your app. The best book, even though it may seem that the coding itself is very much like Java. It is, but there are things which are completely unlike C# or Java because it physically doesn't allow you. Why? Because it wants to protect the system from bad code because it's in the cloud. And the best book on it is written by Dan Appleman. This is 3rd edition, where he lists out the major principles that you have to follow. For example, when you're saving a record, there's no single row. For example, you cannot run you cannot run for loop and then expect to hit insert 200 times. It will simply not allow it. It will tell you you have to design a code. It recognizes that you didn't do it, and it forces you to create a bulking where you have to insert at least 200, not 200 records, but you have to basically create insert statement which does not allow for loops. Also, it does not allow more than 200 records to be inserted at the same time, and it does not allow more than 2,000 records in a total when you finish execution. There are a concept called execution context. When something starts to execute, it's not like in a Java or C#. By reading this book, you will not be able to code if you do not read the book. There's no relying on knowledge from Java because it's unlike Java. It basically forces you to code well, and if you learn to code well here, usually then you start to transfer these coding skills to Java. Then you start to recognize where you messed up if you coded in Java and PHP. If you have made like really bad code, you start recognizing where exactly is it that you made bad code. You recognize that what happens when the system itself recognizes that you are screwing up. See, it says problems here. Problems, invalid type here. So it does not allow you to save it. And the file says permanently unsaved. I mean, it will not delete the file, but you cannot run tests. The code will not execute, and it's useless. The code is useless until you make it perfect. I mean, you can always make mistakes, but they have really tried to minimize the amount of errors that you can make in the code. That's developer console. If we return to how does it look like to have a platform? This is, for example, developer console. How it looks like in Eclipse. So when you want to install force.com plugin, these are the steps, and then the process looks like standard installation of plugin. Whoever worked with Java. And if you take a look at here, the ending of Apex file is CLS. And whatever you see here, it is not executed locally. So you are. I have already said that all of these files are basically checked by a remote compiler or remote system who checks for errors. When you try to save it, it immediately tries to save, or you can go into a mode where it allows you to save locally. But when you finally try to commit code to your online system, it checks for all the errors, and if there are errors, it will not commit the code. You cannot push code if there are errors. Maven's Mate looks similar. This when you add the plugin, Maven's Mate is added here, and the menu for Maven's Mate is you can create new projects, you can debug, you can do all sorts of things from here, and when you finally save, the saving is happening in this blue part, and if the compilation failed, it will not allow you to push the code to remote. When connecting to remote organization, this is the menu that you see. So when you say new project, new window is opened where you have to fill out what's your project name, what's your username, what's your password, and then when you pull stuff from Salesforce, you do not pull everything. You just pull whatever it is that you're working on. So you can pull objects, classes, pages, which are relevant for that project. You decide what is relevant for you. You pull that locally, and then you work, and there's code completion. There's all sorts of snippets that you can speed up your coding process. Training books. It's 6:52. We are getting towards the end. I know that the concentration is going down. The main place to learn is called Trailhead. If you click on Trailhead, see if I have already logged in. Just a second. I have not. When you log into Trailhead, the Trailhead is really exciting in the sense that whatever you read, at the end of every part, you get you say connect to your you get a task to complete based on whatever you read, and you complete the task, and if it checks with the organization, it has a system where, let me see if I can log in. For example, here, when you log into Trailhead, there are different trails that you can follow. What are trails? Trails are basically paths that are relevant to your job. So there will be people who do not want to code. You can be Salesforce administrator, and for a person who is not coming from coding background, they too can involve themselves in Salesforce and can make career in Salesforce just by being administrators, because there are a lot of concepts to learn. And whoever, if you have a wife or if you have somebody who is not a coding guy, this is free. All of this is free. You can see, for example, I have 36,000 points, or I have 26 badges. You get a badge when you complete one of these trails. There are 59, and there's a developer beginner. It gives you concepts for a beginner developer. After each, it tells you. It will take, there are 30 modules, it will take you approximately 2 hours and 50 minutes to complete this. And what that means is that you are constantly involved. There's no just reading. But whatever you read, you do not progress until you apply it in your organization. And there's no fear that you will mess up something. Because if you mess up something, you can just revert back, or you can just, it's very easy to undo whatever you messed up. That is the main part where there is no stress. You do not have a stress because it's not that complicated to make. It's not that easy to make mistakes. There are CRM fundamentals. It teaches you basic concepts of CRM, and it usually, if you click on, for example, essential CRMs. The CRM basics for Salesforce Classic, or accounts and contacts. What are accounts and what are contacts? See, I completed this. If you click on it, it says getting started with accounts and contacts. You click on that, it explains you what are business accounts, what are business contacts. It explains in detail. And then challenge, complete. There is a challenge. At every end of each, it asks you, where is your, connect your organization. So you link your Trailhead with your organization. And as you get badges, you can connect them to LinkedIn. They have like an agreement to LinkedIn that if you have a profile, whatever you have achieved. So for example, you do not have to certificate to prove to your employer that you know this, because you couldn't have completed it. And the task is not something that somebody will do it for you, because it's not that complicated. Plus, you have to involve yourself sometimes. And whoever gets the badges, it also, for example, if you mess up, there's no redo. There's no, I'll do it again. It says you tried 2 times, you got 200 points. You can never get 500 more. Or you can create a new account and then start all over again if you want. But you lose all the badges and all the points that you got to that point. So if you're careful, every morning you devote 1.5 hours or 2 hours. And if you devote, for example, I devoted 2 months every single day, for 1.5 hours, I was doing these challenges, and it's fun. For example, they really involved psychologists to design these challenges, to make it game-like, and it's from a real world. It's not something that you get bored with, this plus it's free. You will regret that there isn't something like this for other stuff such as Java or so. Besides Trailhead, if you log in, and search for Salesforce, see Apex Academy. There's a guy. Apex Academy is created. Academy is created by the guy. Let me just finish this part. The Apex Academy is created by a main Google guy for the guy who handles Salesforce inside Google. He's a Chinese, and there are his tutorials on how to make the organization happen. I'm being told that it is enough. I know it is enough. I remember when I started, intaking all these concepts. There's a lot to intake. I'm trying to, something that I devoted maybe hundreds of hours to, I'm trying to push that through your brain in 1 hour. So, I passed through this multiple times, and once you start involving yourself, this document that I posted online, if you follow it, and if you open all these links, you start getting comfortable inside of this environment, and after some time you start liking it. At the beginning you are revolted towards it because there are many things that you do not understand, but in most cases it's like this. Even if whatever you have done, probably at the very beginning you were revolted, you didn't enjoy it, but if you sustain, at a certain point in time you simply start liking it. Okay, I do not know if I have been a really good lecturer. It's an art to choose what is important and what is not important. And I hope maybe if there are guys who are interested more, we can arrange like private meetup or meetup online or a webinar or something like that. So whoever decides to go along this path, I literally choose this path because there's no competition. I have searched for people to work with me. Nobody wants to work with me. But there are lots of meetup groups. If you go to such as this one, the biggest one in London, Warsaw, and there are many United States. And oftentimes they organize a meetup, and I send them. I create like a small. They have a topic, and on that topic I give them links whatever I have found, and usually they incorporate it. Many times the Polish guys, whatever I told them to put inside of their presentations, they put. What also happened? A guy from France. You can use Salesforce in all sorts of things. You can create an online shops you can sell clothes through Salesforce. And there was a designer who found me from France, who was selling this designer clothes, and he asked me if I could implement it for him, and I didn't have time, and I had to give up. But if you start to involve yourself, if you start to leave comments in the success group, there's constantly somebody in these groups asking, I have this, can somebody work with me? I have this, can somebody work with me? Or TopTal also, TopTal, whoever is working with TopTal or wants to work with TopTal, they also have Salesforce jobs there. Top Coder competition, also lots of Salesforce. And I told you, if you click on dice.com, dice.com is like a major search engine for tech jobs in the United States. You can learn for algorithms or whatever is it that you are looking for. If you type in Salesforce, see there are 1,888 open positions, And see the companies that are looking at, like Deloitte, Zillow, Fujitsu. See there are really, I mean, large companies are looking for, and as soon as company grows large and starts handling all sorts of other companies, it starts needing the CRM, and then they start looking for people to implement it. By this, I will finish it. For any questions, further questions, you can email me, and I will be more than glad to answer.